Welcome to Muskegon Rising, a community service project of the Muskegon Rotary Club. Our purpose is to create lasting positive change. We've been doing that here since 1916. So, let's get started.
Hello and welcome to Muskegon Rising. I'm your host, Aaron Mikey. And today I'm here with Dennis Kirksey, board president of the SS Milwaukee Clipper. Welcome, Dennis.
Welcome to you, Aaron. Enjoy having this opportunity.
Thanks so much for being here. So it's so interesting. How did the Clipper actually arrive in Muskegon?
Kind of a long story, but I'll make it as brief as I can. It spent some time, it's been always in the Great Lakes, but it spent a lot of its time in transit between Muskegon and Milwaukee. After it discontinued its operation as a passenger ferry, it found itself on Navy Pier and was kind of a events-oriented based ship, more than strictly a museum. And then from there, it made its way to Hammond, Indiana. Hammond, Indiana was just a parking ground more than anything else. No real purpose there other than had a dock space. Hammond, Indiana, I believe it was 1989, wanted to take a casino on the dock. Had no place to put it, so the Clipper was homeless. And they were desperately looking for somewhere to go with it. And Jim Plant was very instrumental, and a few others here in Muskegon, but Jim was one who just stuck with it, said, yes, we will receive it, and I believe they bought it for $1. Even got some help from the casino to move it. And that's what brought it to Muskegon. So it wasn't very orchestrated or very planned. It just was foresight of a few people who really thought this could be something big in Muskegon.
So how many boats in the world or around the Great Lakes are like the Clipper, that are a museum, this historical nature that sit in the water and can be toured? Well,
if you do a wiki search on it, your answer is about 275. That's not all inclusive. That's just maritime museums and ships in the U.S. But to be honest, there are very few that are like the Clipper, because the Clipper is really a museum, a Great Lakes Maritime Museum on board a historic vessel. So it kind of checks a couple of the boxes, not just the Maritime Museum part.
It's got some really unique decor. So talk to us a little bit about what that decor is and how that makes this boat so special.
Best thing I can say on decor, Warren MacArthur. Most people that won't ring any bells, but people who are into design, people who are name droppers like Frank Lloyd Wright, who a lot of people know from his architecture category. About the same time period, Art Deco time period, and Warren MacArthur was a designer of furniture and fixtures, spaces for mainly the rail lines at the time. So once he designed a piece of furniture or a wall sconce or handrail, once he designed one for a particular line, he wouldn't share that with any other line. It would be all new designs for new clients. Well, the Clipper at that time, being a major mode of transportation similar to the rails and taking over for the rails, hired Warren MacArthur to do a lot of that refit and redesign in 1934. So the Art Deco elements on board the ship that Warren MacArthur designed, to our knowledge, it's the world's largest collection of Warren MacArthur furnishings. And the numbers are phenomenal.
It's truly like walking back into history when you're on the boat.
It definitely is. And again, that wasn't really an accident. The ship was built in 1904 and was the SS Juniata. There were a couple maritime accidents worldwide which changed how the ships would be built. So even existing lines like the Juniata were basically brought in, and they went through major refits to remove as much wood as possible and get into a steel superstructure. It already had a steel superstructure, but they brought it in, replaced a lot of what was wood with metal, And that's what really prompted the refit in 34. So that's why you walk on board today, people are shocked to see the same dance floor from 1934, the same mosaics and ceramics and fixtures, and of course all of the Warren MacArthur furnishings.
It's beautiful. So this ship, I keep saying a boat, I think, is in the water.
Yes.
So that's got to bring some challenges to maintaining it. Tell us about that.
Probably our biggest challenge seems like a simple thing, but we've been in the painting process over the last couple of years, and the starboard side is not facing the dock. It's pointed toward Great Lakes Marina on the other side of us, and it's just a logistics thing of how do you paint your starboard side of your vessel. We've been blessed. We've had Great Lakes Dock and Material has made a barge available to us, but the spuds aren't long enough off the bow to reach the bottom. So the little bit that we have on the forward quarter still to be done is going to need to be a swing stage or some other mechanical means of getting to it. So seems silly, but on a big metal ship in the water, painting and maintenance is, just one of your ongoing things.
I can't imagine.
It's a challenge.
So nonprofit.
Yes.
How much does it cost to maintain this boat on an annual basis?
I would say, again, it varies greatly by what we bite off. Topsides painting, like I say, that's an ongoing. Every year you see that going on. Broadside painting, your starboard, your port sides, is probably not as frequent as it should be. This time, I think we were on this starboard side. I think we were at least 10 years since the last time it was painted as a whole. So, but I would say we're probably in the area of about $60,000 a year on annual maintenance. And again, we are a 100% volunteer-based organization. So labor is cheap. It's not, but it is because everybody donates their time. But you have to have paint. You have to have materials. You've got to have a lot of tools and painting projects. A lot of disposal of tools.
So how many visitors come to the Clipper on an annual basis?
On an annual basis, we run somewhere in the area of about 2,000 to 2,500. It is increasing. As we've been doing a lot of the maintenance, a lot of the things have been going on board the ship, and we've been increasing our number of models. Every time we get an opportunity to pick up another Great Lakes model, we add those to our museum. So I'd say we're in that area of 2,000, 2,500. Great Lakes cruise tours has also increased our head count too. That's been a very enjoyable thing to take on passengers from all over the world.
It's really amazing to see the impact of the cruise ships that are coming to Muskegon and porting and their visitors now staying. Mm-hmm. I remember the first story when they showed up, they all left and went south.
Yep.
And now they're choosing to stay for our art, for our food, for our historical ships, and we're so blessed to have 3 in town.
Yes.
It's really amazing. So it's great to hear that that's having impact on this ship. So how do you fundraise? How do you raise that money every year?
Our fundraising, again, I know I can't speak for all the other ships and museums, but other than the downtown History Museum, Lakeshore Museum, I don't believe any of the ships, the naval museums, are receiving funds directly from the city, the county, or state or federal government. We find ourselves primarily on private donors, carrying the weight of whatever project we have. We've been blessed to have one donor over the last couple of years that's done matching funds, which has really helped out. It's encouraged others to give, and it goes a long way, especially with a heavy maintenance budget. It goes a long way toward really reaching our goals of making the ship look the best it can. Other than that, we do, on an annual basis, we do a spring, we don't call it a gala, we call it a auction/brunch. And it's a little bit of a live auction, a little bit of silent auction, and takes place. This last year we did it at Bella Maria, and that went really well. And so we always seem to bring in some new bodies, new donors through those types of events.
That's amazing. So I didn't ask you this question. I didn't show it to you before, but just came to mind. So does the Clipper partner with the Silversides and the LST on like ticket sales? So you're here, I'm at the LST. Do they have information and enough to say, hey, you really need to go check out the Clipper, and you should probably also take a little bit of a drive and go to the Silversides?
You're kind of reaching into the future now.
Okay.
We do have brochures available through like Department of Transportation, travel centers, welcome centers, but we also have them available through the local Convention or Visitor Bureau and through the other ships. So we do encourage cross traffic, and amazingly, a lot of our visitors they come specifically for the ship. They come from all over the world to visit the ship. So if they're interested enough to make that drive or flight or whatever they're doing, then it's not a stretch for them to want to take in a World War II submarine or a World War II landing support transport. So the cross-pollination is there, but we are really looking toward the future with that. We think that an opportunity for like an all-inclusive day pass at all the museums would be a really fun idea to kick around.
Absolutely. So on that, big plans. Do you have anything on the horizon for the Milwaukee Clipper that maybe our listeners might want to keep their ears open for?
Well, your listeners probably have picked up on a little bit of it. We've been homeless for over 25 years. We're on a dock at the Grand Trunk site, the Andry property or Sweetwater property, and they were kind enough to make space available, and so we leased that space from them. But we're really a month-to-month lease, and so for a long time we have been looking for a permanent dock location. We've gotten very active in that search. We have a couple possibilities of locations that in Muskegon that might work with us and either give us a long-term lease or potentially purchase of property. Either one. We would require either one or the other of those, either a purchase of property or a long-term, at least a 50-year lease, in order to qualify for National Park Service grants. So we're really striving to get one of those within the short term, and we've got at least two sites that are actively, I don't want to say pursuing us for a change. So it's good because we do have a lot of plans that we want to do, but there's a gate and a fence currently that we have to man that gate anytime we have events going on or tours going on. And we really want to eliminate the fences and the gates. We want to end up in a location where public can drive right up to the broadside of the ship, and we can roll out the carpet and welcome them aboard.
Well, that sounds amazing. And then qualifying for national level grants will truly help with your funding and your restoration of the Clipper.
Yeah, I think all of that is true. And some of the things I didn't touch on earlier that make the Clipper what it is. What sets us apart from everybody else is as far as we know, we are the oldest, at 120 years, we are the oldest Great Lakes passengers ferry that's still in existence. And I believe we are the only remaining quadruple expansion steam engine that's in existence anywhere in the world. So it's, then you couple that with all the Warren MacArthur history and artifacts that are on board. It's got a lot of things that no one else has in the world. So we're pretty proud of her.
That's amazing. So the quadruple expansion steam engine, it doesn't run anymore, or does it?
I would say that it is serviceable. We do not start it because the prop still is attached. And so we don't. But that is one of our things we are working toward is engine room tours. So far, we've been very limited because you can imagine there's a lot of big pieces and a lot of moving parts. But we've started and begun a lot of the cleanup of the engine room, and we are really looking at doing some things on board the ship. We're very limited on how much we are able to change based on our historic registry. But there's certain things we can. We can install some acrylics and some windows and things where people can view that quadruple expansion engine. So we're in the process of working those things through right now.
That's really cool. I have done a fair amount of scuba diving, and we always searched out the triple expansion. I've never heard of a quadruple.
The
So
Ford
that's really cool.
was as far as I know, the Ford was the last ship that had one. And there's actually a video online of it running, but it's the same exact paint scheme as our engine, the original paint colors, and it's the same motor. It's just in a different ship,
That's
which is
amazing.
now gone. So it left us as the sole remaining heir to that title.
Very cool. Is there anything that we haven't covered that you'd like our listeners to know about the Milwaukee Clipper, Dennis?
It's kind of a subtle little thing, but one of the things our board has been kicking around for a while is we really want to bring more youth. We want to we've done that with our board. We've brought on some younger members, which has been a really good thing for our board. But we want to do that through the school systems. So this year we're really going to be trying to work more with the schools for field days, field trips. Pre-pandemic, we had one group from the local elementary school just up the hill from us there. They come down for Earth Day. They come down and they do a cleanup of the Grand Trunk site. So I worked with Kathy Evans and Mark Evans to bring those kids on board the ship for just a brief mini tour, and then we sat them in there's a 140-seat auditorium theater on board the ship. So we sat them in the theater and we viewed the Muskegon Back from the Brink video that David Ruck had produced. And it was really good. It was an opportunity for these kids to see something that's 120 years old and really pick up on a piece of history, touch and feel a piece of history that probably they've never done before. And I know the after effect of it is we had kids coming back with family members, wanting them to see what they saw. So this year it's on our list of things to do is we really want to reach out to the schools and see if we can get more students involved down there and kind of share some history.
Yeah, they absolutely won't appreciate it until they're on it.
Yeah.
It's amazing to be on that vessel and to be able to see what it looks like, what it feels like, how well it's been maintained. Dennis, thank you so much for participating on Muskegon Rising today.
Well, thank you for having me.
And for more information on the Muskegon Clipper, please visit the Milwaukee Clipper. I'm getting baseball intertwined with this. For more information on the SS Milwaukee Clipper, please visit MilwaukeeClipper.com. Thank you for listening to Muskegon Rising. For more information, please visit MuskegonRotary.org.